Hello everybody. Well, it's time for another Q&A. It's been a long time since I did one of these. So, as always, I've got some of my followers on Twitter to ask me literally anything. And I'll be answering those questions in this video. So, yeah, I'm gonna read them out now. So, I have two questions from my friend Ryan. How you doing, mate? One of his questions is, what's your favourite movie soundtracks involving famous bands or solo artists? There's a lot. Obviously, there's the Flash Gordon soundtrack by Queen. You know, I love Queen, one of my favourite bands of all time. I'm not too familiar with the movie though. I've seen clips of the movie, but I haven't seen it all the way through. But I do tend to sort that out at some point. And also, Who Made Who by AC/DC, which was the soundtrack to Maximum Overdrive. Another film that I haven't seen yet that I do intend on seeing very soon. I'm going to probably find a copy of it. But the soundtrack is very good. And I do love AC/DC. And, of course, the Beatles did soundtracks to their own movies, of course. You know, there's The Hard Day's Night, Help, Magical Mystery Tour, Yellow Submarine. I don't know if that counts or not, because it's you know, it's the Beatles' own movies, but you've also got the Labyrinth soundtrack by David Bowie, and of course David Bowie's also in the movie. And I do like the film Labyrinth. I think mainly because, you know, I just love David Bowie, and I just, you know, to me he's the reason to watch the film. So I'm not really into that kind of genre, you know, like fantasy, you know, fantasy musicals, but the fact that David Bowie's in it, it makes the film worth watching to me. But Labyrinth is a good movie. The music in it's good as well, because it's performed by David Bowie. And Ryan's other question was, do you like Jean-Claude Van Damme films? And if so, which ones? I love Van Damme. Favourites, Nowhere to Run is a great film. And what's the other one? Death Warrant, great movie. Sudden Death, you know, there's some great ones. I haven't seen Hard Target yet, but I've heard brilliant things about it, so I definitely intend on seeing that very soon. There was another one that he did. I can't remember what it was. The one where he played two characters, like two identical twin brothers. I've got it on my shelf. Hold on. Double Impact. Double Impact. That's it. Yeah, Double Impact. Great film. So yeah, thanks Ryan. And got a question from my friend Mike from MJ Cinema. So yeah, how you doing, Mike? And his question: worst slasher movie you've ever seen in your life? I'd probably say the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. That's one of the worst I've seen. I mean, I don't outright hate the movie, but I don't know. I liked it when I first saw it, but now I think, you know, I'm not as into it as I was. I'd also, there's a few others that I considered the worst. You know, Halloween Resurrection, which I don't hate Halloween Resurrection. You know, it's a guilty pleasure. You know, it's a terrible movie, but it's, you know, it's a guilty pleasure. But I do consider it the weakest of the franchise. It is my least favourite, and it's the one that I watch. You know, it's the one that I watch the least. But yeah, so it would probably be Halloween Resurrection or the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. although thinking about it, I'd probably say the Nightmare on Elm Street remake is a guilty pleasure. You know, there have been times when I have enjoyed watching it, and sometimes I'm like, I'm not so sure about this, but yeah, it's not a great film, but I'd say it's. But yeah, I'm not even sure if there's ever been a slasher film that I've watched that I've hated, to be honest. I mean, yeah, there've been horror movies that I've probably disliked, but slasher films, I'm not so sure about that. I know people are expecting me to say Seed of Chucky, but I actually love Seed of Chucky. You know, I think it's an excellent film, to be honest with you. You know, I think that one's unfairly hated. But yeah, thanks for that, Mike. And I've got a question from Tanya. How you doing? Her question was, what were your favourite movies from 2022? Obviously, Halloween Ends. Loved it. Honestly, unfairly hated, and I don't really care what fans or critics say. I love the film, and that's all that really matters. As long as I love it. Jurassic World Dominion is another one that I really liked. The Batman. I enjoyed The Batman with Robert Pattinson. I wasn't too sure about it to begin with because I've never been a big fan of Robert Pattinson's work. Mainly because of the Twilight series. Because I'm just not a fan of the Twilight series. I'm sorry, Twilight fans, but I'm just not a fan. And yeah, that's probably why I've never been a fan of Robert Pattinson's work, because he's been in the Twilight movies. But surprisingly, he did a good job as Batman. I was surprised at how good of a job he actually did. And the movie was really good. So yeah, I really like the Batman. What else did I see last year? Was that one with the nuns, that demonic possession film? I remember the plot of the film. I can't remember what the film was called, but it'll come back to me. But thanks, Tanya. And the last question is from Mel. And her question is, who are your other favourite horror characters? Well, obviously, as you know, Chucky is my favourite. But besides Chucky, there's loads of others that I love. Obviously, I love Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, and some of the non-slashers as well. Dracula, and Baron Frankenstein, in particular Peter Cushing's version of Dr. Frankenstein from the Hammer Frankenstein film series. And for Dracula, I'd say Christopher Lee is my favourite version of Dracula. I mean, I love a lot of them. I love Bela Lugosi. I love Frank Langella, Gary Oldman. They've all played Dracula so well, but for me, it's got to be Christopher Lee. So, yeah, thanks, Mel. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little Q&A, and I'll do another one very soon, as soon as I can. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.